Hello everyone, welcome to Gagan's virtual classroom. Today we'll read the Ball poem by John Berryman. It's from class 10's NCERT book First Flight. And before we begin, I would like to remind you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so that you don't miss out on more such videos. So let's first read what the poem is about. The poem is about experiencing grief at losing something we value and overcoming it. In this poem, a little boy is saddened at the loss of his ball. The ball symbolizes his young days. Now, the poem is about how we feel sad when we lose something that we love, and how with time we accept the loss and start living with it. In this poem, a little boy is full of grief when he loses his ball because he has feelings attached to it. The ball here is a symbol of his childhood. It represents his young days. Now let's read the text which is given in the books before the poem. A boy loses a ball. He is very upset. So the boy is very sad after losing his ball. A ball doesn't cost much, nor is it difficult to buy another ball. So the ball is not very expensive and it's not difficult to buy another ball. Why then is the boy so upset? So why do you think the boy is still sad even when he could get another ball and the ball was not so expensive? Why do you think the boy is sad on losing that ball? Read the poem to see what the poet thinks has been lost and what the boy has to learn from the experience of losing something. So we'll read the poem and find out what the poet thinks that the boy has actually lost and what will he learn from this experience. Now this poem has just one stanza of 18 lines and it is a blank verse, also called free verse, which means that this poem does not have any rhyming scheme. If you see, there are no rhyming words here. So this means it does not have any rhyming scheme. So such poems that does not have rhyming schemes are called blank verse or free verse. Now let's read the poem. What is the boy now who has lost his ball? What is he to do? So the poet says, what will happen to this boy, or what will he do, the boy who has lost his ball? If you see, there is repetition of the word what. It is used here once, and then in the next line also, in the next phrase, the what has again been used. So this device is called anaphora. When a word is repeatedly used at the beginning of successive phrases, clauses or sentences, it is called anaphora, and it is done to emphasize a point. So here the poet says, what will happen to the boy, or what will he do who has lost his ball? I saw it go merrily bouncing down the street and then merrily over. There it is in the water. So now the poet says that he saw it go. Now what does it stand here for? It is the ball. So the poet says that he saw the ball going merrily bouncing. Now he's given a childlike characteristics to the ball. So it is the ball has been personified. The device here used has been personification. So he says that the ball, I saw the ball going merrily bouncing like a child walks joyfully. So that is how he saw the ball going down the street, and then he saw it go into the water. And again, if you see, the word merrily has been repeated first in this line and then again in the beginning of the other line. Again, the device anaphora has been used here. No use to say, oh, there are other balls. So the poet says, okay, now that the ball has gone, but there is no use of telling the boy that, don't worry child, there are other balls, because it will not pacify him. So even if to console him, you tell him that he could easily get another ball, it would be of no use because he will not stop crying. An ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy as he stands rigid, trembling, staring down all his young days into the harbor where his ball went. Now the poet says that an ultimate grief fixes the boy. Ultimate here means final, when there is nothing beyond that. So the boy felt extremely sad, probably because before this he may not have experienced the loss of something that he valued so much. So he stands there trembling and staring down, looking at his young days. Now young days, the ball here represents his young days because the ball has the memories attached to it. the memories of his childhood. So all the memories of his childhood goes into the harbor where his ball has gone. Now what is a harbor? Harbor is this area of water next to the coast where ships or boats are tied. There's another picture of a harbor. So here also you can see the ships or the boats, they are tied here. So this place is called a harbor. So the boy probably must be playing near a harbor when the ball bounced over and went into the water, and that is when the poet must have seen the ball going into water. Now the poet says, I would not intrude on him a dime, another ball is worthless. So he says, I will not intrude. Intrude means to interfere. So the poet says that he will not interfere between the boy and his experience of losing the ball. He will not interfere and not say that he could get another ball or not console him, because it is worthless. Even if he offers him another ball or a dime, dime is a cent. Like we have paisa in India, in US they have cent. So he says, even if he says that he would give him a cent to buy another ball, or if he consoles him by saying that he could get him another ball, it would be worthless, it would be useless, because it will not console the boy, it will not pacify him. So that is why the poet says that he will not interfere. He senses first responsibility in a world of possessions. Now, first responsibility here means that he has learned the first and most important lesson of life, that he is bound to lose things that he values. It could be things or relations. And in this world of possessions, it means the materialistic world where people attach too much value to materialistic things like property. So he says in this world, in this materialistic world, he has learned the first lesson, that he is bound to lose things and he has to learn to accept it. People will take balls, balls will be lost always, little boy. Poet says that people will take balls. Now balls here represents his worldly possessions or belongings like property or relations. So he says that there will be people, mean people, bad people, who will take away his belongings from him, his possessions, or he would lose them on his own, but he has to learn to accept it. It is bound to happen. So it is something that he has to learn to live with. And if you see in this line, the word balls has been repeated. It has been repeatedly used. So this poetic device is repetition. So he says, and no one buys a ball back, money is external. Then the poet says that no one gets a ball back. No one will help you to get your things back when you lose them. And money is external. There is no feelings attached to money. Even if you get something new using your money, but that will not be the same thing. It will not have the feelings attached to it which you had, the memories attached to the thing that you had lost. So he says money is external. Now in this line, the poetic device used is alliteration. If you see here, and no one buys a ball back. Now alliteration is a device when a consonant sound is repeatedly used at the beginning of words placed close together. So here if you see, the consonant sound b is repeatedly used. Buys a ball back. So this is alliteration. He is learning well behind his desperate eyes the epistemology of laws, how to stand up, knowing that every man must one day know, and most know many days how to stand up. So the poet says that the little boy is learning behind his desperate, means helpless eyes, the meaning of laws and how to stand up. Stand up here means to stay strong. So the little boy is learning his first lesson to stay strong after the loss. Then the poet says that loss is something that every man experiences in his or her life. We all lose, or we are forced to give up things that we love. But despite that, we have to learn to stay strong no matter how much it hurts. So this poem teaches us that we need to learn to let go and not cling to things that we no longer have. That is how we can survive. So that was about the poem. I hope you understood and liked it. If you have any doubt or you have any suggestion to help me make my lessons better, do write in the comment section below. Thank you.